Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are late, but we are here. I've had some gremlins affecting me tonight. These things do happen. First off, let me introduce my guest for the night, Ghost Technical. Trey, say something, please.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me, Ellis. I'm
Do happen.
thankful for having me, man.
First off, let me introduce. Yeah, it's been an interesting night for me here. First we were running and then things went haywire and lost internet connection, and now I'm back, and hopefully I will be here for the rest of the show. We are waiting for Dano to show up. He's got some information for you folks. Hopefully he will get here, so we want to see what happens.
I think
uh,
Dano's over on the lobby chat right now talking simulations. I just sent him a message.
okay, well, when he gets here, he gets here. Until then, let's run this thing. What do you think?
It's your show, brother. You do what you got to do. Congratulations on your first show, by the way. It's
Well,
going to be
I
fun.
appreciate that. I thank you very much. I hope everybody enjoys it. And if not, oh well. You don't have to like it.
That's
I'm
right.
going to do it anyway. uh,
That's right. That's right.
so, Ghost, tell me. Let's talk about you. That's why we're here. We're trying to get inside your head a little bit. Let's. What got you into guns? First of all, what brought you into this?
Um, Honestly, what really kind of brought me into guns was the Marine Corps. I mean, I'd shot a little bit growing up, some 22s here and there and all that, but I was not really a gun lover. You grew up in the city of Dallas, yeah, you think Texas and all that, but you grew up in the city, you don't go shoot a whole lot. So it really wasn't until I got into the Marine Corps before I really enjoyed shooting.
And how long were you in the Marines?
I was in for a little over 4 years. I got extended a little bit for something we were doing, but I was in for basically a 4-year contract. It ended up being a little bit more than 4 years, a couple months more.
Hmm. Did you ever go overseas?
I did. I spent a little over a year in Okinawa, Japan, based out of there. But while I was there, I was gone for a lot of time. We were in Somalia. I was doing some training over at Camp Fuji, over at Mount Fuji in mainland Japan. Spent some time in Korea. Did some stuff over there. But yeah,
Oh, cool. So while you were in the Marine Corps,
uh-huh.
you were probably exposed to a lot of different kinds of firearms. What was your favorite? What really stood out to you?
What was my favorite that I actually got to use in or just my favorite gun that I was exposed to? Is a different
Just
answer.
oh well, let's hear both.
Um, my favorite weapon that I was exposed to and actually got to shoot a little bit, not a whole lot, but I was exposed to and all that was the Mark 19. It was a, fully automatic grenade launcher. It was pretty badass.
That's an interesting toy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. As far as what I got to use and different things, I got to use it a couple different times, not a whole lot, but a couple different times on some different stuff we were doing was the probably the MP5 sub.
Nice strike said, do we really want to get inside your head?
There's not a whole lot here, Night Strike. It is what it is, but what's up here is kind of jingling around a little bit, so you never know what's going to come out.
The M60 was that? Were they still using the M60 when you were in?
Oh hell yeah! M60 was a great gun. You have a fully automatic weapon that was awesome. I did not carry the M60. Um, that was not my issued weapon. We do have guys that were in our squad and all that were the M60 guys, but I did not carry. Now I shot it a lot, and I shot at 50 cal, which was awesome. But I did not carry the M60 as my primary weapon. I carried M16A2 with a Beretta M9 sidearm, and like I said, for a couple different things, I used the MP5 sub.
And the MP5 sub. That's one of those dream guns that most of us civilians will never ever get our hands on.
Yeah, they were fun. It was pretty awesome. I remember one time we were training over in Pendleton, and we just happened to be doing 50 cal and Mark 19 work, and all of a sudden, like this was, I guess, like 96, 97, somewhere in there, maybe 97. I don't remember when it was. But the San Francisco 49ers were there and they were doing an exhibition. They wanted to, they used their clout to come on base and they got to shoot some of the guns. And so they kind of pulled us off and helped them shoot some stuff. And I mean, I didn't get to sit there and talk to them at all, but like Jerry Rice was there and Steve Young and all that. That was a pretty cool thing. And to watch those guys shoot a 50 caliber, uh, that was the 50 cal was pretty fun for them to watch because they were like, they never did anything like that before. So it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I can imagine that's pretty much the epitome of being a badass is firing off one of those things.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It was, 50 cal was awesome. Like I said, the 50 cal and Mark 19, M60, they're all awesome. But just the fact that you've got a fully automatic, grenade launcher that it's a tank buster type thing, man, that has to be the coolest thing.
What the hell was you using for targets with those things?
They have old tanks, and when I say it's a range, there we had multiple kinds of ranges out there. You had the rifle range that you shoot your rifle on, but you have these open ranges that they have different things, and they literally had old, you know, decommissioned tanks and all that, and you're just tearing those things up. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah, redneck's wet dream right there.
Oh, it was awesome. If yeah, yeah. Especially being like a 19, 20-year-old kid, you're like, this is badass.
And you were never exposed to any firearms before that point?
I had been exposed to them, but I wasn't a gun person. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I had shot some stuff, but I was not, I was never a hunter. My family weren't hunters. My dad was a businessman type guy. And, some friends of ours growing up, they hunted and I fished a lot, but, you know, I was the suburban kid, I was a sport kid that, you know, rode skateboards and smoked a lot of dope and stuff like that. I was the athlete and all that, didn't have really time for all that. But, until I got there, and then I got there and I was like, oh, okay. Like I said, I had shot some stuff, some guns and 22s and stuff growing up, but nothing major until I got there. And then I was like, okay, now this is pretty fun. So yeah, that's kind of when
You,
I
you
was
figured out
I
what
was
you'd been missing.
reborn. I was born again.
Figured out what you had been missing for all those years.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's
Well, see
awesome.
there. So, so that's a completely different. My dad was a part-time gunsmith, so
Oh, yeah, you've been
I
around your
was.
whole life then.
Yeah, I was pretty much. When you walked into the front door of our first house, Mom had a picture of Jesus on the wall in front of you, and on every other wall in the living room was a gun rack filled with guns. And as you walk back through the house, you see more racks and more guns. It got to the point where he actually had to build a separate room onto the house for the guns.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I wish I had that problem. Even today, I wish I had enough guns that I could have to build another room for it. Buddy of mine's probably got, honestly, he's probably got a couple hundred, between pistols and hunting rifle. Everything. He's got a couple, he has his whole basement is basically a gun shop almost.
wow. Yeah, see, that would be my dream there. Um, and and thing about it is at one point in time, and I still remember being a kid and watching my dad fire off a full automatic Tommy gun from the back porch.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I want one. Even I couldn't have been more than 5, 6 years old tops, and it was just wow, that's amazing. But for me myself, it was just yeah, and you knew the difference between the real guns and the toy guns, and you knew not to touch the real guns. And
Yeah.
it's there wasn't no gun locks or gun safeties, and there was no issue with anybody messing with the guns because you knew the results if you did.
Yeah.
It was um, one of my earliest memories of my dad was him taking me out, and this was the first gun memory is him taking me out to the woods squirrel hunting, and he shot a squirrel, and he goes and he picks this thing up, he brings it back, and he says, if it will do this to a squirrel, it will do this to you. And even as a kid, that's an eye-opening situation. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, this is deep. You know,
Yeah, sure.
but so you did what, 3.5, 4 years in the Marine Corps? You said
A little over 4, yeah.
a little over four. What'd you do after that?
Um, well, interesting question. I actually turned professional in golf. I was a professional golfer there for a while, 3 4 years, and all that stuff. And I still I'm still a golf pro, but I don't play professionally anymore. I'm much too old now, but yeah, I hurt my back in 2002 and pretty much couldn't play more than a day or two in a row, and that's not good if you're trying to do it for a living. So, got into running golf courses and clubs and all that, and that's what I've been doing since about 2002.
Wow. Yeah, I never thought I'd ever hear anybody say I got too old for golf.
I'm not too old for golf. I still play a lot, but I can't do it. When you're playing out there professionally and you're trying to make a living off of it, it becomes a job, and it's a 7 day a week job. So that I could not handle between my knees and my back. I couldn't handle the day to day grind of um, doing that. I obviously was not making enough money to be the guys that are flying everywhere, and especially in private jets. So I was driving. So you're talking about 8 10 hour drives every weekend between places and trying to play golf and all that. It is a grind, and I just couldn't handle it anymore.
Well, I'm sure some of those trips are even longer than that. I mean,
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
I
The
mean,
the
I know
problem you
they.
have also is I was gone for 3 weeks of the month every month for 4 years basically, and I'd come home every now and then, and my daughter at the time was when I quit playing, she was 5. So, those were the beginning years of her life, and she didn't know why I was gone. She didn't understand. So I'd come home every now and then. She'd look at me like, "Who the hell is this guy?" And so that kind of got a little painful when you don't get to see your kid grow up as much as you'd like. So yeah, it hurt, but yeah, I love what I do now, and I run a resort here in Arkansas, and life is good.
Now, for those of you who don't know, I we are all part of Men Ghost, and several other guys are a part of gun channels, and there's a live lobby chat constantly going. Okay, and we give each other hell, and we're constantly on Ghost about the golf thing. I mean, it's
Yeah.
come up more than one occasion.
Well, you don't usually don't hear a former Marine golf pro. That's not something that usually
Yeah,
go
yeah,
hand in hand.
yeah. That's. You would normally hear a Marine say, "Well, you hit them, and I'll shoot them." It's just one of those things.
You gotta have thick skin around some of you guys, so it's all good. I've been insulted by worse people, so it's all good.
Well, here's the thing, though, man. You know, uh, you have to learn that in life, if you can't take yourself too seriously,
No, I
and
don't.
because once you start doing that, you just live a boring, lousy, miserable life, and I don't think any of us do. So, hey, it's all good. It's all in fun and games. I give as much as I get and get as much as I give. So,
Yeah. No, I enjoy life, and I'm blessed to have a job that allows me some time every now and then that I can do what I want to do and all that. So yeah, life is good, and there is no reason to take yourself too seriously. There are people that we both know that sometimes do, and um,
they
that
will
makes
remain
for good
nameless.
entertainment also. That's just as funny as someone who doesn't take them seriously at all. So it's all good.
Yeah, because the ones that do take themselves that seriously, we have fun laughing at,
And one
not
of them's
necessarily
out there
with.
right now. He's complaining that he receives more shit from gun channels than he gives.
I bet it's Night Strike.
I bet you it's Jonas. But
Uh,
we love Jonas, and we do it all joking, and I think he knows that. Um, I think he knows that we're all brother in arms, quote unquote. but I think that we've all bonded to some very, very good, deep friendships, even though most of us haven't met each other. But friendships don't have to be a face-to-face thing, and I think he knows that we mess around because we love him, and it's all good.
Well, here's the thing, and I've said this before, and I believe it wholeheartedly. The guys that I have met through gun channels, and I'm sure you probably feel the same way. Um, you feel like they'd go to bat for you if you needed them to.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that there are some people in the gun channel. I've only been on gun channels now for gosh, just over 2 months now, and there are some people that I mean I would consider true, very good friends, and I have never met them face to face. And that's why I can't wait for Tulsa. And I know that a lot of people can't make it, but there is going to be a pretty strong contingency of people in Tulsa in November at the Wanamaker Gun Show, and so I'm really looking forward to actually sitting down, going to dinner, and hanging out with a bunch of the guys that are friends of mine that I've never met. And that sounds weird, but it's a strange dynamic. But there's some really really good people on gun channels.
Yes, there are. And I'm like you. I've met a lot of people on there that I would consider good friends, and
Yeah,
I've been on there less than you. I mean, I've been on there what a little more than a month and a
yeah,
half,
about a
maybe.
month and a half. Yeah, yeah,
And the thing about it is you've got different people from different aspects of life.
yeah.
They all have their own niche, and we don't agree on everything,
You're
but
not
we
supposed to.
agree. But we agree on what matters.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean there are people over there from all kind of economic backgrounds, from all kind of social backgrounds, from all sorts of I mean literally all over the country, from even people that are in Canada. I mean, we have a lot of different people that are over there with all different backgrounds and all of that stuff, but yet every single one of them over there. Hold on, Dano. I sent it in a
Yes, I sent the link. You
private
sent the link.
message on gun channels. Um,
Poor
but
Dano.
anyways, but yeah, there's all sorts of different people from all different backgrounds. But yeah, like you said, we all have one thing in common, and that is um, we're gun people, and we're proud to say we're gun people. And um, I think that Phoenix is out there trying to cause trouble, but it's what it is.
Well, see,
But I think the cool thing about gun channels though is some people are more into the political side of things. Some people are more into the training side of things. Some people are more into the building side of guns. So you've got a large myriad of people that are interested in different things, and then when you get them together in the same room in a lobby chat, it's awesome because I've never built an AR, and I'm going to be building my first one this Christmas with my daughter, and I'm looking forward to that. But there are guys that have built hundreds of them, and they don't look down at me because I've never built an AR. As a matter of fact, they're all trying to help me on what's the best thing to do and what's the best way to go with your first AR build. Just like I'm probably more politically inclined than some people are, but I'm not near as political as some other people. But no one judges. We'll have some discussions because obviously when you start talking politics, everyone's thoughts might be different, but I think we all agree that on one thing, and that is, I'll use Night Strike's famous quote, but shall not be infringed. And I think it's really cool that people are starting to come together more and more in the last couple of weeks because of the threat of what may be coming, or what they're going to try to do. And so yeah, I'm really looking, like I said, I'm looking forward to Tulsa because Saturday the show ends, I think, at 6 o'clock, and me and Cycle Camp and some others are trying to get together at a restaurant at around 7 that night and get everyone that's from gun channels and even people that aren't on gun channels, but watch the shows and want to come and sit down, because we're not only just to meet each other, but that's a great place to have a little roundtable discussion and see what can we do to take home and help the cause. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Well, first of all, let me hit something here real quick.
Sure.
I don't see Phoenix said anything too out of the way.
You wouldn't, because you love 1911s, but that's what it is,
No. And secondly, Dano has just showed up, and he's got a public service announcement for you folks.
Absolutely. Go for it,
Hit it,
Dano.
Dano.
Yes, I do. This afternoon, I was doing some research in regards to Second Amendment groups in general, and something I want to pass along is if you are either already a member or interested in becoming a member, or just simply want to make a one-time donation, Gun Owners of America currently has one of their lifetime members is doing a matching donation drive. So for every dollar you give, this anonymous member will also give $1. So if you give $20, there'll be that individual will also give another 20 for a gift for a total of 40. So you can double your gift to Gun Owners of America. In addition to that, and that you can do online, and I'll drop the links in when I'm done. If you are interested in becoming a life member, which is normally $500, you can apply that matching gift program to your lifetime membership and get a lifetime membership for $250 instead of $500. But you must call during normal business hours. And again, I'll drop that phone number in the chat shortly after I'm done. When you call, if for some reason the operator is not sure whether you can apply that or not, ask them to double check, because I did, and that's how I got it this afternoon. So I am now a lifetime member of Gun Owners of America for $250 instead of the $500. So it's not a discount from Gun Owners of America. I'm not taking money away. They still get their full $500. It's just they got $250 from me, and they got $250 from an anonymous lifetime member that was matching my gift. So I'll go ahead and unless you guys have any questions, I'll go ahead and drop those links over on where's that?
Drop away.
In the yep.
You can go ahead.
I forgot. YouTube doesn't like web
No,
addresses.
you're gonna have to make a couple people mods or something.
Well, I just did. In fact,
okay. What I can do is I'll put it in the side chat in here, and if you could just post that outside, for the YouTube people.
Go ahead.
But
in fact, Ghost, I'm also making you a mod while I'm at it, because
I'll go ahead and put in the GOA. Then I'll do that. I'll do the GOA link on the YouTube side for everybody.
Yep, that works.
So when you click on that link, if you're just going to give a matching or just a gift, period, you'll see at the very top it says campaign matching fund. And then below that is all the typical information. But that matching fund campaign is the one that, again, you don't have to use it if you didn't want to, but I don't know why you wouldn't.
Right.
But it's only available, the member has pledged up to $100,000. So once that has been reached, the matching fund program will be over. So whether that's a week, a month, or whatever, it's there until it's gone.
Right.
Well, see, here's the thing. Night Strike is now upset because I made him a mod.
Oh, he likes the attention.
Yes, I know. Well, that and the fact that I know he likes 1911s, and because of Phoenix said what he said about 1911s, I couldn't resist. I just had to do it.
Absolutely.
So you can blame yourselves for this.
One nice thing about speaking of mods, about having more than just one or two out there is because in case somebody doesn't happen to make the show, you at least have one person that's going to be out there that can keep an eye on the trolls for you.
Yep, exactly.
Because they are out there, and if you don't have somebody keeping an eye over your shoulder for you, watching your own six, they will multiply.
Yeah.
And we have 9 people watching at the moment, and I'm not sure who's out watching. John Z's here, of course.
I can tell you. You've
Ghost,
got
Night Strike. Yay. I'm not doing too bad for the first time.
Bart, you're doing great. The fact that and I can tell you, I mean, doing your first show is stressful, man, because you don't know what to expect.
Dude, I'm not
You,
stressed at all. I'm sitting there, I'm puffing on my
so.
vape and drinking a beer.
But I think you're doing great so far, and that's the great thing is we need more content creators. We need more people doing this because I think even G Webs will tell you the vision that he has as far as the live chats, the live shows, whatever you want to call them, is 24/7, 365, having someone live all the time. And the more and I think this is a really cool concept you've got going, interviewing and doing all that, because there are a lot of people that you see their shows or you see whatever, but you never really kind of get to know who they are, their background. So I think this is kind of an interesting concept that I think could be very successful for you.
Well,
And
go ahead, Don.
for anyone who happens to be listening for the first time for this very first official show, I have been in a number of discussions with Mr. Hatfield, and I would highly recommend that you go ahead and click on that subscribe button so that you are aware when he is putting stuff out there, as well as click on the little bell for notifications. So in case you don't check your subscription feed, you will see the little thing pop up, and there'll be a note there that, oh, he's got a chat coming up, or he's put out a new video, something like that. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and then hit that little bell, which is the notifications.
And, I'm all about audience participation here. So later on, we are going to have you guys ask, Dano or Ghost questions if you so desire to ask said questions. Also, too, I have been kicking around a few names to have on next week's show, and I'm going to ask one of two gentlemen to be on the guest for next week.
There you go.
If everything goes according to plan, of course. Remember,
Sure.
I have gremlins always nipping at my heels. I don't know what's going to go wrong when and where, but these two gentlemen I would like to get on the show, and I'm going to let you guys vote to see which one I ask first. The first one of these two
crowd participation. Here we go, guys. Get your keyboards ready.
Yep. Now, here's the two guys. One is CloverTech. The other is G-Webs. Now, I know this is tough because both of these guys are great, but one of the two of them I'd like to have on the show next week. So type in 1 if you want CloverTech. Type in 2 if you want G-Webs. And I will see what I can do about getting them on here next week.
Just as a little bit of a teaser, you willing to share with the audience what the subject matter may possibly be for next week?
Whatever comes up.
Yeah, okay. It's like more of an interview style. So you try to get them to talk about their backgrounds and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Excellent.
I'm not going to ever script anything. It's just going to go where it's going to go, and we're going to leave it at that. I think that
CloverTech's got an early lead.
Yeah, it looks like.
Well, there's different pros and cons for a lot of us. Like, I've spoken to G-Webs for many years, and it's not that I know everything. I most certainly don't. But for me, CloverTech is more, although he's not brand new, he's more of the new shiny toy versus the old one that you've used time and time again. It's steady, it's ready to go, but you played with it a million times.
Okay, well, looks like we're going to go with CloverTech next week. Sorry, G-Webs. I'll get you on the week after. I promise. But looks like next week's going to be Clover. So we can inform him tonight of that on his show, which airs at 11. I should be
After Hours Pimp Show.
Yeah. Hey, man, I can't miss that shit. I just love it.
Especially if you can get Clover, to commit to doing it outside. Now, obviously, he doesn't have to be on camera, but if he's outside in his lawn chair smoking his pipe, that can make for a really good interview.
Okay. Maybe I can even convince him to do a chair pop.
You might be able to do that.
I might be able to get him.
Yeah, he very well could.
Would y'all like to see a chair pop from Clover?
Don't feel pressured on your very first.
Oh, I'm not pressured at all. I don't feel pressure, brother. See, I'm old school with this. I was doing this crap in 2098, when Yahoo was big. So this is nothing new. It's just I'm a bit out of practice. Thank God I got Ghost holding me up.
Yeah, that's if you're expecting me to hold you up, Pards, you're on for a shit fire right here, because
So, Ghost,
yeah.
let's get back to you.
All right.
This is
Let's
your
not,
night.
but okay, if you want to.
This is all about you.
Oh, great.
So,
I
what
love it
got
all.
you
I
in?
love being all about me. You know me well. It's all about me.
Well, it's more all about your wife, because if you say the wrong
Yep.
thing, she's going to kick your butt, and we all
That is
know
true. I'm a tough one. I'm very opinionated, so a lot of people seem to think that I'd be the one that you didn't want to mess with the family, but no, you don't want to mess with Yoko because she'll kick your ass in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Japanese, right?
She is Japanese. I met her when I
Yeah.
was in Okinawa. Yeah, that's
Oh,
why I
there you
call her Yoko. She really loves that.
go. Yeah, I bet she does.
Yeah.
Make sure she hears this show, by the way.
Oh, yeah. She probably won't. She could give a shit, but she has never watched any of my shows, so. But
Well, see,
maybe I'll play it for her tonight when I get home, and just turn the volume up, and so she's forced to listen to it. So that'll really get her going.
okay, well, I might avoid that one if I were, or get drunk first.
Well, the good thing is I'm leaving early in the morning to go to Dallas for a shoot this weekend, so I can get her all pissed off and then leave town. So it's all good.
And that's a good segue into my next question for you. How did
Oh,
you get into competition shooting?
that's a really good question. It's a couple years. It's maybe about a year and a half ago, really. I go to the range all the time and all that, and love to shoot, but I'm one of those guys that grew up like ultra competitive. I played.
You never.
Yeah, I know that's hard to believe. But I'm the guy that'll probably cut your throat if we're playing marbles and dominoes. So if I can win, I'm going to do it. Um, but so I'm ultra competitive, but more than anything else, I like to compete with myself. So I got bored. It sounds bad, people saying they get bored going to the range and shooting, but I truly did. I try to get to the range 2 or 3 days a week, and eventually just sitting there shooting targets was kind of boring to me. And there was a guy at the range. He's a buddy of mine that I knew shot competitively, and I asked him, all about it, and he was like, "Oh, absolutely." And I said, "Because I was looking for something to make me want to keep going to the range." That makes sense. Let's see here. What in the hell is John? Okay, yeah, I was looking for something to kind of give me a reason to enjoy going out back to the range again. So, um, the competitive shooting side was honestly, it did not start out with me trying to be competitive. It was more or less looking for something to keep me interested in continuously going to the range. And so if I was training and practicing for a specific reason, that was it. And it's really kind of rejuvenated my love of shooting. To where during the summertime with my job, I don't get a whole lot of chance, but during the fall, spring, and winter time, I'll try to go all the time. I'll try to go at least once or twice a month to a different match, and I'm going down to Texas this weekend for a pretty big match. So yeah, I'm enjoying it, but that's really how I kind of got started in competitive shooting, was honestly just trying to figure out a reason and a way to practice with a purpose instead of just going out there shooting at targets.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, what was the first big match you were ever in, and how did you place?
The first big match, like, I mean, what do you consider a big match? Like anything over, like in Arkansas, local matches are anywhere from like 20 to 40 people. The first big match I was in was the Arkansas State shoot. Um, um, they have a state championship every year in IDPA. And so the Arkansas State was my first match. It was like over 120 people in there, so that was a pretty big match. Um, I think I finished like middle of the pack, honestly. I think by the time I had gone to that one, I'd only shot in 2 other matches, and so when you're talking shooting in local matches versus going to ones that are a lot more strict and a lot more competitive because the local match are just for fun and working on stuff, um, but, yeah, I would say that it was different, and so I was happy. I remember going to that match, honestly, um, and if you're familiar at all with competitive shooting, especially IDPA, which is different than some of the others, but you have a down zero circle in the middle of chess, and if you miss it out just outside that's down one, outside's that down two, and for each one it's a second. So if you're down one, then that's 1 second added on to your time for the stage. And but they also have different how do you call them? I mean, they for in layman's terms they have penalties for doing different things. So, you might step across the cover line, or there's different things you can do to get penalties. And my whole point in that big one was I don't care how I place, because the thing about IDPA is when you go to state level matches, there's people from 10, 12, 15 different states because they're all trying to qualify for nationals and all that. So I mean there were some shooters from all over the country there. And so, yeah, I was nervous. I said, I just don't want to have any penalty points. I don't care if I just don't shoot well. I just don't want to do anything stupid. And I didn't. So I was happy with that. I kind of finished, probably, you know, just below halfway through. So I was really happy about that. But yeah, that was a fun one because it really kind of got into, so, oh, okay, this is a big deal. This is just your local match with 20 guys hanging around shooting. This is a big deal.
Yeah, I bet you was a bundle of nerves.
I mean, I wasn't nervous. I was nervous. I was nervous to an extent because that's just the competitive side of me. I didn't know how I was going to stack up. Um, because shooting military wise and shooting at your range is so much different than competitive shooting. And, so I wasn't really nervous. I was just, yeah, I mean, I guess nervous would, I guess, yeah, I guess I was nervous. I guess you could call it nervous. I don't know. Hell, I'm too dumb to figure out what the wordage is. I'm just a dumb Marine.
When it comes to wordage, we need to be talking to Clover. He's good with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, it is what it
Okay,
is.
guys. Before we go any further, I want to get to some questions. Anybody got any questions for Ghost?
Uh-oh, this could get interesting.
Yeah. Well, you
I think
signed
there
up
was
for
there was one earlier that asked if I'd ever played golf in a kilt, and the answer is no, I've never played in a kilt. I am Scotch Irish, but I have never
it. He
played in
just
a
drinks
kilt at
Scotch and
all.
Irish.
That's
He
right.
don't play.
And Phoenix, who is a
Mod.
yeah, he said this just in. A Marine admitted to being nervous. Here's I actually got into it with another fellow Marine. This is, gosh, a month or two ago. And we were in a chat or something. I don't remember what it was. Talking about okay, it's actually a really good question. You want to read what Dano said? I'll come back to that story in a second.
Thoughts on Marines before your time versus your time versus today. Okay.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I mean, I absolutely have all the respect for any serviceman, no matter what branch you're in. The The funny thing is we all will joke around between branches, and we can give each other shit, and we'll make fun of the squids, and we'll make fun of the chair force, and we'll make fun of the little army dogs, and obviously the Marines are the best. Everyone knows that. I don't have to tell you that. That's not my opinion. That's like the truth, that we are the badasses of the world. No, just kidding. But we give each other hell and all
That
that. But
is,
I will
folks.
say
And
this
we
is,
don't believe for 1 second he was kidding, do we?
yeah, yeah. Uh, well, I mean, I can just do this real quick in all my glory. You know, there it is right there. So, anyways, um, My biggest thing is this. I will give hell to other branches all the time, but if I'm in a public situation and there's someone talking smack about the military that never served, yeah, you probably don't want to be around me at that point because I'll make fun of the squids and all of that and call them squids and all that. But if you make fun of any of my buddies, um, and you didn't serve, then we're gonna have words. So, mad respect for all servicemen. Now, as far as the old guys, man, those guys were those guys were hardcore. Um, you know, the thing that the gear that these guys have today is so much better than 20 years ago when I got out, and the gear that I had was so much better than the guys that were in Vietnam.
And a
So
lot less weight to carry.
oh, abs a lot less weight, but we're even talking about just, I mean, we had, now they were the beginning stages. Now what they have now is much different. But I mean, we had NVGs, night vision goggles that the guys in Nam didn't have and all that. So I mean, every 20-25 years, you're gonna look back and say, man, just the stuff that we have is so much better than those guys. So I have a lot of respect for the weapons that were used during the Vietnam era and all those. Those guys were hardcore. I
Okay.
will say I will
I,
say that the newer guys are yeah, they're giving me shit up there. I see that.
oh yeah, I gotta say it. I got
Yeah.
to. Was
Yeah,
that
go
a
for it.
Navy flag?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll
uh,
say this. Anchors away, bitches. Semper Fidelis, do or die.
there you go, Ghost Man.
uh
Uh,
no, but I will say this. I can't speak as to the guys in today's Marine Corps because I don't know. I can tell you that the training that I went through, they don't do a lot of it anymore. Does that make sense? I can tell you that when I went through boot camp, um, some of the disciplinary actions from the drill instructors um, are no longer legal. Let's put it that way. So I think that we were probably pretty tough. I'm not saying the new guys aren't. I think they're always tough. I mean, they're all tough. But the guys before us, they were crazy tough. Um, I wouldn't mess with those old crusty guys because those guys were badasses. So I think you can't really compare because every 20 years everything's so much different in the political arena, what you can do, the gear wise, training wise. I mean, me and Phoenix and a couple others were talking the other night about and Squib. I think Squib was also there. We were talking about training, and I think maybe Patriot was there, but I know Squib was, and me and Squib were talking about some of the training that we did because we were in about the same time. And the training facilities that we had back then compared to what they have now are, I mean, nothing. It's no comparison. Um, yeah, I it's hard for me to sit there because I don't know what they're doing these days. I would imagine that their lives are probably a little bit easier than ours were, just like mine was a lot easier than what the guys in the 60s and 70s were. So, I mean, you can take that for what it's worth. It's really hard to answer that question, but everyone's gonna every 20 years you're gonna look back and say, man, this guy's had it a lot harder than we did, or whatever. And I think that's just kind of also the way it is. We'll look back and say, oh, these guys have it so much easier than we when we were in. We had to do this, that, and the other. And luckily, luckily these guys these days don't have to do what we did because technology has advanced.
you get to thinking about it. Even the guys from back in World War II, could you imagine what they had to go through? The
Oh man.
packs that they carried. I read somewhere some of those packs was like 120 pounds. Could you imagine?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my grandfather was a tank commander in Germany under Patton in World War II, and he died when I was 13. So I never quite was old enough ever to talk to him about that stuff. And I asked my dad, when I was a little bit older and all that could understand. And I asked my dad, and I said, did Peepaw ever talk about? He said he never did. And so that's the really the kind of the cool thing about that. Um, those old World War II guys is they were all extremely humble. They never, even the ones that I've run into now, they're crazy old. And even 10 years ago, when most of them were still alive, they were very, very humble. They didn't really talk about it. It was more about duty and honor and service instead of the glory. And that's awesome because that's what I feel is, and you know me well enough. I've gone on some rants about what I think people should and how they should and shouldn't act as veterans, but I think some people do it for the glory, and that's really not what it's about. It's about serving your country and protecting the Constitution. And those guys back in World War II, man, they're every single one that I've ever come across in my lifetime were all very humble, didn't want to talk about it, were appreciative of the thanks and accolades, but we're not that guy that wanted to talk about it. They did it because they were serving their country, and it was the duty and the honor of serving your flag and all that. So those guys are the heroes. Probably, you'll look back over for generations and generation. Um, those World War II guys, there's a reason why they're called the best, what are the greatest generation ever, whatever. That those guys were the real deal, and those are the ones that we can't ever forget, even when they're gone. Veterans Day means a lot to me, and it means different things to every veteran. But the ones that those guys were the heart and soul. I mean, World War II guys were truly the ones that helped shape where America is these days because they truly made us a world power, and those guys are awesome. I respect those probably more than anybody else ever.
I've often said, people are not thankful enough for what they have, and they certainly do not think the people or thank the people, excuse me,
Yeah,
that gave up a lot. There was a lot of them that gave up their lives for
sure.
this country, but the ones that made it back, I don't think they get the respect that they actually deserve. And I'm not just talking about World War II or Vietnam or Korea or
Yeah,
the first
yeah,
Iraq War. I'm talking about even today.
yeah.
These soldiers deserve more respect, and I'm not going by branch here because I don't care which branch they're
No, it doesn't matter. If
in.
if you wear that flag on your shoulder, then you're good to go by me.
Exactly. And they give their hearts, their souls, their blood, sweat, tears. They leave their families for months, sometimes years at a time. And if you don't think that's a sacrifice, try to
Yeah,
live it.
yeah,
Try
yeah,
to live with you coming home and not, and you're literally, like he said earlier, he's gone for a month, come back and his daughter don't know who he is.
imagine being gone for over a year.
Imagine being gone for a year and coming home, and this child looks at you not knowing who you are, and there's a strange man in her house.
Yeah,
Well, I'm your dad. That
yeah,
has to be heart wrenching.
yeah. It's tough. Phoenix has actually asked a couple good questions.
Yeah, I was about to get to that.
Yeah, go
Fourth
for it.
Recon or Marsoc?
I was with a unit called the First SRIG. It was Surveillance Reconnaissance Intelligence Group. I was an 0261 trained as an 02. It was geographical intelligence. Um, we had in Shrig, we had Force Recon, we had Anglico, we had a communications battalion. We also had the 11th, 13th, and 15th MU, which are the Marine Expeditionary Units, which I don't think they're called that anymore. And as a matter of fact, I don't even think that Shrig even exists anymore. So, they're all called different things. It was not MARSOC back then. It was, you had Force Recon, you had, and then you really about buy the Muse and Marine Expeditionary Units and all that. So, yeah, it's they're all called different things. But I was with a unit called First Surveillance Reconnaissance Intelligence Group. We had some cool stuff, man. Did some cool things.
Now he's got another question here, and I think
Yeah,
you and I have touched on this once before.
yeah.
Feelings on reducing military standards for females.
You know, you know, I'm gonna put it to you this way. I don't give a shit if you're black, white, Asian, Mexican, male or female, gay or straight. Don't give a damn. Um, if you can do your job and I can trust you to, and that's what most people understand is when you're in a small unit and you have a squad of 8 to 12, but you're in a fire team of 4, and you're literally looking to your brother slash sister, to your left and your right, and saying, I'm placing my life in your hands, and you're placing your life in my hands, and together as a group we can get the job done, and we're all 4 of us are going home to see our families. I don't give a shit if you're male, female, or what race, what religion, what social, sexual orientation you have. I don't give a damn, man. Anyone that remember, we're not under a draft, so anyone that is going to um, I don't even know how really to say it, but except for just they're going to serve their country, they're going to volunteer their service, and if they're physically and mentally able to do the task at hand, then go for it. There are probably some women out there that are stronger mentally and just as strong physically as there are that are some guys in the front lines. Um, so I'm all for it as long as they can handle it mentally and physically. I have no problem with it whatsoever. I would say this. Um, if they can't, then we'll reevaluate them. Just like we reevaluate normal men. If they can't handle a situation, they won't be in that unit very long. So if they, like I said, if they can handle it, I got no problem with it. Just do your job, keep your mouth shut. Don't try to become a celebrity with it. That's why I really respect this young lady who has made it through the School of Infantry. First one that's going to be a Marine officer in the infantry unit, because she did not want her name released. She did not want to be a celebrity. She wants to be a Marine. And a leader of Marines is a special thing. So I'm all for it. Do your job and simplify. I don't
You
care.
know, I realized she didn't want her name out there, and I have nothing but respect for this girl. But
Yep.
I would love to have her on the show. I would absolutely love
You're
it.
probably not going to get her, but
I know
hell,
that, but
hey, I can even say, I mean, they're not going to know who the hell I am. And, they don't care about, some crusty old guy. But I mean, I do have my captain. When I was in, he was a captain. He's now a full bird colonel, probably on his way to a star. And I mean, I can send him we talk on Facebook. I can send him a Facebook message and say, do you think this girl would ever be interested in doing anything? And he might know someone that knows her. I don't know, but it's worth look. Try to ask anybody. All they can do is say no. But what if they say yes?
exactly. And that's going to be the whole premise of this thing.
Yeah,
And I know that I'm all about gun channels. You people know I'm all about gun channels. You know I'm all about the Second Amendment, firearms, gun safety.
yeah.
But there's more to us gun people than guns. And
Well, everyone's got a different background.
I want people to understand that, because they think we're all just a bunch of gun-toting nutcases. Well, that's
Yeah,
not it at all. I'm
no,
into other things. I'm into fishing and hunting and camping, and
yeah,
I'm into you know comic books. I would,
yeah.
like I said before, there's several guys out there that put comic historian for
Sure.
one. Comics Explain. I'd love to get these guys on this show.
Yeah.
And
I hate to hijack your show. Can I make one comment real quick?
oh, you can say anything you want.
Phoenix is out there, and he said he's all for it. He said just not for reduced standards, and that's a great point for females in the front line units. That's the one thing that I respect about this young lady. I think she's 24. That I respect about her most. She made it without reduced standards, and what most people don't realize, and people sit there and say, so a lot of people were saying, "Oh, they must have done." No, they must have done this because they wanted to have the. No, they didn't. There were 38 previous women that attempted to go through the School of Infantry in the Marine Corps. All 38 prior failed because they did not lower the standards. This girl made it through legitimately. So, hell yeah, I'm all for that. And Phoenix, you're right. Don't lower the standards. And the Marine Corps didn't. And I'm proud to say that because they very easily could have said, hey, let's get G.I. Jane out there to get in front of the cameras. No, 38 previous tried and failed. This girl made it through, so I am all for this one. So I'm sorry, but I'm sorry to hijack that, but yeah, you're right. Go ahead, keep talking.
Well, we did say your name, John. The John Z Project is here. He's here. He's in the chat room. He's talking. We acknowledge this. And Night Strike, what the fuck do you mean I'm a nut? You see this? See what I deal with from family.
Yeah, well, that's family. That's a family thing. You'll need to figure that out.
You know, there were feuds for starting left for less than that.
Well, you are Hatfield, so it's all good.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh well. Huh? That's my word. Yeah. Okay, guys, we're about to shut this thing down, but before we do, I want to give a shout out to one G Webs who's got this gun show loophole tour coming up. Actually, it's still going.
I'll put the link out there for you.
Yeah, I will appreciate that if you do. He has done so much ground pounding for gun rights. It's unbelievable. He and without him, I wouldn't be here doing what I'm doing. Ghost probably wouldn't be here doing what he's doing, and gun channels wouldn't exist. You know, support this man in any way and every way you possibly can. Also, you know, like I've said before, and I will continue to say, if you've got questions about firearms, guns, there's people on gun channels constantly that's willing to answer your questions. I'm no expert. I will never claim to be any kind of expert on any kind of firearm because I'm really not. But there are people who do know. If you want to know something about older guns, talk to Cycle Camp. The man is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to classic guns, especially military. Hatfield.
One person in the house.
Yeah.
Rich White just showed up. His internet problems.
Well, hey, we're welcome to have you. Well, it's okay, Rich. We're about to end it, but we're glad to have you, brother. Hatfield, do you need help getting your gun channel? Yeah, Dano, I will hit you up with that later if you don't mind. But we're gonna get it taken care of, and I want to thank Dano for stopping by and telling us about the GOA, and hopefully get some members flowing that way as well. Ghost, what you got, buddy?
Yeah, I'm not going to go into the political side of it. I am a Second Amendment Foundation member and a GOA member. I think I do the Patriot thing, which is a monthly type thing. So if you are looking for alternate Second Amendment organizations, go check out both of those. They're a little bit different. And we were having this discussion earlier. Dano came in and asked, I think me and G and Smeg and maybe Phoenix was in there about the differences between the two, and the basic differences is the Second Amendment Foundation is going to be more or less trying to take on municipalities, states, or other organizations in court, and the Gun Owners of America are going to be more the legislative side on the rights and the laws and all of that. So they're both great. If you haven't checked them out yet, and if you're interested in GOA, we'll go with this. The Second Amendment Foundation does run and started up and kind of does the gun rights policy conference that G went to a couple weeks ago, and it's awesome. If you are interested about the GOA and you're interested in what they do, and if you like their leadership versus the NRA leadership, just Google Eric ERICH Pratt PRATT. Just do Eric Pratt CNN and go watch some of those videos. And he owned those people, so yeah, he's awesome. So go check those out. But no, Ellis, thank you for having me, man. This was fun. You did a great job. Congratulations on busting your cherry.
Well, thanks.
It's good, man. You did a good job, and like I said, I'm a big fan of what you're trying to do. I think getting and I'm not saying it was me. I mean, there's a hell of a lot more interesting people than me. I think that I was probably your 11th choice for your first show, but I thank you for having me.
You were one of the top 3.
I think that you get some of these guys that are the big name guys and all of that actually people care about. and get them in this kind of a setting, and it's more of a personal one-on-one and kind of talk about their backgrounds. I think that's awesome because a lot of people know these people from behind a camera, but they don't really know where they were, where they've come from, because their backgrounds do kind of shape who they are in front of the camera. So, yeah, I think it's awesome, man. So, congratulations. I'm happy to be here.
You know what, man? I appreciate that. And you know me. I sit in the background. I don't say a whole lot. And when I do, it's normally a smart ass comment. But that's just who I am. But I wanted to put something out there. I wanted to get behind the scenes stuff. I want people to know who you guys are, what you guys are up to, what you do. And that's what this whole show is going to be about. And it's not all about the guns. It's about the people. It's about the people who wants to learn who you are, what you're really about, what you do on in your life other than guns. Because
Yeah.
like I've always said, there's more to gun people than just guns.
Absolutely. It's just it might be a very big part, but it could be a very small part of who we are. You never know.
There's there's honestly, how many Marines play golf or professional golfers? Yeah, you
There's,
hit the nail on the head right there. I mean,
there's probably
nobody
not a
would
whole
expect
lot.
that. Nobody would expect that. But you know what? You're happy with what you're doing. You do it well, and
It
you're making a
provides for
good
my
living.
family, and it
Amen.
allows me to do a lot of things. So yeah, I'm very blessed.
Okay, guys. Well, we're going to sign off from here. And Ghost, I know you've got a show coming up. So if you want
Yeah,
to plug it.
Tactical Tuesday is, I mean, most everybody out there is watching right now knows about it, but if you're watching later, Tactical Tuesday is every Tuesday at 7 o'clock Central, streaming live on YouTube and on gunchannels.com. Yeah, come out, check out Gun Channels, guys. It's a great place, and you're going to meet some awesome, awesome people. Like I said, there are people that I've met in the last couple of months on Gun Channels that I truly consider good friends of mine, and we've never met personally, but I know that if something happened, they'd have my back and I'd have theirs. So there's some really good people out there, and
Well, you can count me in that
so
number, brother.
absolutely, yeah. But
Okay,
thanks for
brother.
having me, brother. I appreciate you. It was great.
Hey, I will have you on again. That is a promise to you and my followers. Um, Folks, Clover Tech will have a show coming up at 11. You don't want to miss that. It's always a great show.
I think Tack Daddy might be live now, so if you guys
Yeah.
usually watch Tack Daddy, I think he's probably started a few minutes ago. But yeah, go check him out as well.
And we cannot forget Mr. Night Strike, who has a show called Hit or Miss Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock. If I forgot to mention that, he would probably come to my house and beat me. So there you go. That's taken care of.
And I want to say, guys, also, Ellis has been around for a month and a half, and he is got a couple ideas for shows, and this is one of the ideas. And I think that this is an amazing concept that I think you guys should all be excited for. So if you haven't already, go ahead and please subscribe to the Outlaw Hatfield. And just like Dano said earlier, don't just subscribe, but click the little alarm bell right next to it that will notify you when he goes live, and when he puts out content and videos, it'll let you know that you notification. But please subscribe to Outlaw, and if you know any other gun people that like watching live chats and live shows and all that, tell them about it. Share his videos, share his channel with people that you know on social media, because I think that this type of platform has a chance to be kind of awesome, because it does, you're kind of like the was it Charlie Stone, or what was the name, the guy on PBS that does the one-on-one interviews. People love that stuff, especially if you can get the big guns out. I appreciate you having me on. It's awesome. I'm honored to do it. But I think that you get some of the big guns on here. That would be awesome to see. Their background and what makes Yankee Yankee, what makes Matt Matt, and on all that stuff. So yeah, congratulations, brother.
Well, speaking of Matt, I am going to try to get a hold of him and get him on the show one night. And remember, guys, I can ask them. It's up to them to say yes or no. I ain't forcing anybody to do anything. That's just not who I am. And Ghost, I appreciate you being here, guys. I appreciate you listening, following, joining, the conversation. Good questions asked tonight. Thanks, guys, and we are out of here. Have a good night, and God bless America.